Okay, well, if you
My
agree to
bad.
China's judge and your judge can be elementally,
That scene
I'll
with
provide
Phoenix.
my argument. I'll provide my argument. 3, 2, 1. Just to be clear, let's go. Alright, P1, all contradictions are false. For the ABC, you agree? Hello? So,
Yeah, I'm
what happened?
listening.
I mean, I asked you, do you agree upon P1, all contradictions are false?
Yeah, I agree with P1.
Cool, P2, anything with the beginning, creating itself / coming from nothing is contradictory.
Wait, anything beginning from nothing is...
Anything with the beginning, creating itself / coming from nothing is contradictory.
Why would I grant P2?
Like what contentions would you have to P2?
Yeah, I'm just
Denial of
unconvinced.
PSR.
I'm just unconvinced why something coming from nothing is a contradiction. I'm just asking for the argument for that.
So you're basically negating PSR?
Yeah, I'm asking for the argument in favor of that. Actually, no, not even the PSR, because the PSR is an independent proposition.
Well, no, because if you're coming from nothing, like literally nothing, there can't be something that be a cause or something actual or anything regardless. It can't even be an explanation because that explanation would still be something. So that would still be negating the PSR as you would be refuting a negation to reason.
Well, I agree that it doesn't grant the PSR, but I'm saying that saying it's a contradiction is a stronger claim than just the PSR. Because the PSR just says that everything has an explanation, everything has a cause. That's
Right,
different
but
than saying that
I'm
it's a
trying to say if I
contradiction.
can, but I'm trying to say that if I can prove that if something comes from nothing, because if something comes from nothing, that would mean that it has no explanation as well. But that would only be true if PSR was negated, and if PSR is negated, that's a contradiction. Is that fine? Does that justify P2?
Yeah, sure. You can just give the argument for that.
Okay, cool. I got you. Here we go.
Taking another shit, bro. Give me 1 second.
Make sure you're watching though, Chunk, because I don't want you to like rewatch the like,
Yeah, I'm listening, bro. Don't worry about
Wait, what premise are you giving, or what argument are you giving in favor of what?
I'm
He's
about to give an argument
he's
for the
giving the
PSR.
argument for premise 2.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay. P1, assume that something begins to exist without a sufficient reason / explanation. P2, if something begins to exist without a sufficient reason, then it would mean that it's impossible to provide a reason or explanation for its existence. P3, now the assumption that something without a reason itself exists is itself a reason or explanation for its existence. Now, obviously, this is going to be the premise you critique. So, what's your critique to be like denying P3?
Wait, can you repeat the argument again, like slower?
Oh, I got you. I just have it in chat because yeah. There you go.
Okay, to be clear, by sufficient reason or explanation, do you mean this metaphysically or epistemically?
Explain what you mean by epistemic reason and sufficient.
Okay, so right,
Yeah.
so a metaphysical explanation is usually going to be given in terms of either a causal explanation or a constitution explanation. For example, like me dropping a ball causes it to fall to the ground, or the atoms in an apple sort of explains why the apple exists. That's an example of like a metaphysical explanation. On the other hand, an epistemic explanation is just making an idea clear, or giving reasons in favor of an idea being the case. For instance, something like evidence or such. I'm just asking you, is it metaphysical
Then it would be
explanation or
metaphysical.
epistemic?
Then it would be metaphysical.
Okay, so I'm just unconvinced that P3, if this argument is true, because if you're saying that, quote unquote, now the assumption that something without a sufficient reason exists is itself a reason or explanation for existence, that's just false given metaphysical reason or metaphysical explanation.
No, because definitions themselves are explanation. The very reason as to why they exist is to why they can literally exist without a reason, but you just gave a reason as to why they can't exist.
Well, look, if you're saying that the definition is an explanation, that's just an epistemic explanation. That's just equivocating on what you mean by explanation here.
But hold on. Repeat your
because obviously definitions have no power.
Hold on, no. Repeat what you said about metaphysical explanations?
Yeah, so again, metaphysical explanations are usually given in terms of causes or constitution relations. So, for instance, me dropping a ball causes it to fall to the ground, or the atoms in an apple sort of explains why that apple exists. Both these are instances of metaphysical explanations. Another relation that might be categorized under this category is grounding relations. This is given in the literature that people like
Yeah,
Schaefer.
so don't you think like the very reason of it or the very fact of it having a cause or anything like that is itself gonna also have an explanation that is appealing to some form of definition? So for example, if something's talking about causes and effects, it's gonna be appealing to the definitions of many things one way or another. Like
Well,
it
look,
doesn't matter.
obviously,
You can't really escape from that, because if you just try to say, well, no, I just believe it's limited to causes and metaphysical explanations, you're still not escaping from the fact that even though you may believe it may be a metaphysical one or an epistemic one, you're still giving a very reason as to why they exist, which is they can literally exist without any reason. So you kind of didn't attack anything.
well, yes, that does attack something, because here I just taken definitions be a necessary condition, but not a sufficient condition for something being metaphysically explained. Because if you're just taking the definition to be like the explanation of the given true
I think
object here,
I think we can
wait,
conclude. I think you kind of repeated yourself. You want to conclude?
yeah, sure.
Okay, well, we
Yeah,
can
this was
conclude.
bad.
You
Free
kind of
one.
just repeated. Yeah, try to get your verdict.
Yeah, so the repetition doesn't really attack the premises. So I think he sufficiently justified his position. That was quick. Yo, single Phoenix.
Wait, Tron, you think that's what I said?
Hey.
No, that's not what you said. I wrote it like terribly wrong. Terribly fucking wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Can you go to P3? Like I'm getting bored of this.
Can you can your Cheney
Yo,
judge
yo,
give
yo,
a
Phoenix, hello.
verdict?
Earth to fucking penis, hello.
Oh,
Yeah, what's up?
Cheney, Mr. Cheney, can you give a
Emily.
Wait, I'm not trans, by the way.
my fault?
You know
Mr.
what?
Emily, Mrs. Emily,
Wait,
can you give a
how's that
verdict?
possible?
That's not logically possible, huh? Can you give your
Yeah,
verdict?
Give me a quick recap, real quick. I'm still trying to get around the syntax of the argument.
So, your
Because I
judge
don't
doesn't
even,
even know what on earth is happening. That's pretty bad. I would
what the
Yeah,
fuck
reconsider
is
can
getting a
happening
just
right
judge.
now?
well,
I would
can just
reconsider
walk
getting a
me
judge,
through
calm
it.
down.
Mercury.
Look, the syntax of the argument doesn't even like. So, what
Why
I
are you
was told
asking
was
for
that
the
you were
syntax
giving an
of
argument in favor of P2, and yet the conclusion of A2 is, thus everything that exists must have a sufficient reason, and not anything.
So, are you like
anything with the
attacking his
beginning creating
argument,
itself.
or you're
Well,
gonna
are
give a
you
conclusion?
attacking my argument, or are you gonna give a conclusion about what happened between me and Mercury in our dialectic? What
Okay,
the
yeah,
fuck?
I mean, I think Mercury went off. Of
What the?
Off of what? Off of what? With the book?
Yeah, what was his point? Can you give a recap of the points, bro?
I
No, I
think he's
answered
done
that
like.
previously because I was trying to get the
Oh
syntax of
yeah.
the argument.
It's fine. You can get your verdict about the whole debate after. You want to move to P3, or do you want to just end the debate here, Mercury?
P3 of
This is
A2 or
so.
A1.
This is so
P3,
awkward, bro.
nigga. P3 of my fucking argument, because granting that
Which
you
you gave
agreed
two
to
arguments.
hold on, nigga, wait. Granting you agreed to my PSR argument, we would conclude, and because my argument would end after that and it would be valid. But since you negated P3, then cool, we can move on back to my argument and grant P2, since my judge believes that you lost and your judge has yet to give a verdict. So for now, for the sake of the dialectic,
Well,
we can
I
move on
gave a
to
verdict. What are you talking about?
nigga.
He thinks Mercury won.
You literally fucking asked us for the points. What do you mean you gave a verdict? Stop it. Anyways, we can move on to C1. So
Wait,
conclusion
yeah,
one.
I mean A2. The conclusion
Can you
A2
stop?
is not P2 and
Wait,
A1.
single Phoenix, just stop. Just stop.
A2. I mean,
No,
okay,
bro.
whatever. Okay, can you wait?
Bro,
Okay.
single penis, bro.
Okay. Anyways, C1. Anything with the beginning creating itself such coming from nothing is always false. So everything that has a beginning has an external cause or material or immaterial. Cool. That's conclusion one. Now, P3. Anything eternal does not change.
Wait, what was
So do we agree?
C1? Was C1 everything that has beginning has an external cause?
Uh, no. It was anything
That's
with
not
the
the
beginning
conclusion, though.
creating itself / coming from nothing is always false. So everything that has a beginning has an external cause, material or immaterial. That was C1. Anyways, P3 was anything eternal does not change.
What you typing,
I
Mercury?
disagree with that. Can we
Right.
huh?
What do you mean by eternal there?
Anything without a beginning, infinitely going, whatever, everlasting, yada yada. But here we'll
Wait,
just be like,
why would that be changeless?
because the points of progression, so let's assume it changed, the points of progression from it going from state A to state B would be infinitely far away from one another, yet going from a finite speed you can never reach infinity, so you would never reach it, but you still did reach it, so you conclude to some form
Wait,
of contradiction.
why can't I just say that all moments in time exist equally?
I mean, you're affirming B theory. I would like you to justify B theory.
No, I'm just saying why is the motivation
Well,
against B theory? Because your argument assumes
okay,
that
hold on.
your
Do you know
argument
that B
assumes that
theory
B
only?
theory is
Hold
false.
on. Do you know that B theory only holds physically and all of that? There is no fucking temporal time outside of temporality, nigga. Outside of space and time, what fucking temporality do you have? We're assuming a creator which is outside of space and time. Are you fucking saying it's affected by B theory and temporality inside of space time, my nigga?
If you're saying it's eternal, that's assigning a temporal predicate to it. So yeah,
Not really, because eternal, if you agree that space-time has a beginning and you're saying that something eternal has no beginning, then something that is eternal would precede space-time. So what the fuck are you talking about?
then I just say it's a contradiction in terms there.
So where's the contradiction? Just to be clear.
The contradiction is that it both is and isn't temporal.
Wait, what? Wait, no, I just clearly said it's not temporal. It
I
has a
know
beginning.
you're
Hold
saying
on,
it is.
But you're attacking my definitions of how I'm doing it. So why do you go ahead and attack your add your viewpoint to my definitions and my perspective of
I'm
how?
not adding
Okay,
my viewpoint.
okay,
I'm saying
then
that,
hold on, then hold on.
I
Why
just
the fuck would
for a
you
second.
assume? Then why would you assume? Hold on,
I
just to
already
be clear,
told you.
right? Why would you assume that it's temporal when I literally said no, it precedes temporality because time has a beginning, yet this creator has no sort of beginning, so it would precede this thing with a beginning. Do you understand?
Look, I already granted that you think it isn't temporal. I'm saying what you said would entail it being temporal because you said it was eternal, and the way you defined eternal was that it exists at all moments of time, it exists forever.
That's not what I said. I said everlasting, as in it has no beginning, as such it cannot have an end. Are you
Right?
tracking? Are you
Wait,
tracking?
if it has no beginning and it has no end, do you think it exists infinitely? Correct. Insofar as it
Yeah,
exists.
outside of space time. We would call this so in, like, for example, Catholicism, you have the eternal act of God eternally creating. That doesn't mean he's creating within space time because space time started existing after him. So he would now abide by the laws of space time. You make no fucking sense. What the fuck?
Wait, if he's creating, that's an action, right?
Right.
And most instances of the actions are temporal. That's just an inductive case.
Nigga.
That's just an
Yeah,
inductive
that
case.
there's a
This
reason
nigga's ass.
there's a reason why it's called the eternal act, because the act precedes space time and God is also identical to this
I
eternal act.
agree.
Just to be
Look,
clear,
I agree that you're
wait. Just to be clear, God is also identical to this act, and this act is outside space time and it precedes space time. Hence why it is outside of space time, because how can something act or cause space time yet be inside space time? That becomes a paradox.
Look, I agree that you're postulating this. I'm just saying that there's an inductive case against it. There's an independent inductive case
That
that
makes no sense.
demotivates the argument.
Hold on. It would only make sense if there wasn't a whole ass explanation for it to not be the case. You're saying,
I'm just saying
in most cases, acts are usually defined as temporal acts that happen inside of temporality. Nigga, in this case, we're not talking about acts in the general sense. Rather, we're talking about acts when it comes to God's free will or free nature to act upon something. We're not saying it in the literal sense as how a human being would act, because God doesn't act like human beings. He's outside of space time, hence he's not affected by these temporal things that are within space time and these temporal limits that you'll
okay,
have for
so
human beings.
if it's like just a metaphor, then what actually is it?
What actually is it? I don't think you tracked it. I also,
You
this
just
was an
said
example.
it isn't an act.
Wait. Just to be clear, this was an example, so it's not even what I was talking about. I gave an example of how something can be eternal yet precedes space time. Second of all, what the fuck are you talking about? Then what is it? It's an act. It's just not an act in the sense human beings would do it. Now, where the
Yeah,
fuck did
I'm
I say it's a
asking for.
metaphorical act? What the fuck?
I
He's
didn't say you said it
metaphorically
was a
causing the
metaphorical
universe,
act.
nigga. What the fuck?
Oh my god. I'm saying that since you use human actions as a sort of metaphor, as a sort of way to explain it indirectly, I'm asking for a sort of direct explanation.
I don't think you tracked anything I said about this. Let's conclude. I already gave an explanation on what I meant by acts. Let's conclude one more time.
I'm
Alright,
sorry,
chat.
Mercury, but free won again. Unfortunately, this was kind of bad.
This shit was bad.
I don't know if it's like you tracking right now. I don't know if you're like
Yo,
sleepy,
Free,
bro, but like
why so many people in call?
Not him. I'm debating. Give me a sec. Alright, yep. Can we get the trainee judge to give a verdict, please? Emily.
Oh, I mean, I stopped listening after the first verdict.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he stopped
That's
listening.
wonderful. So I would suggest you get a better judge because I don't think your judge even cares about the debate that's happening.
This is
Regardless, though, you would want to move on to P4, or do you want to like just end the debate here? Because like
This is
this is bad
horrible.
enough.
Yeah,
Why?
sure.
Why
We
would
Wait,
can
you
don't
move
do
on
kick.
to
though?
P4.
Like, what?
Wait,
What
don't
happened?
don't kick my boyfriend. All right. Anyways, yo, continue, bro.
Right. So you want to move on to P4, or do you
Yeah,
want to just
I said we can move on to P4.
Okay, we have changes in frames of temporal progression and changes in frames of metaphysical progression. So what this means is you have like, for example, 10 seconds ago and right now, there's a real distinction between them, and we have changes in the progression that can be like literally distinct from one another.
Yeah, I grant that.
Okay, cool. So then we would have C2 progression, whether temporal or metaphysical is not eternal because it changes. If it were eternal, another frame of progression would be infinitely far away from the last, therefore it has a preceding cause, eternal to itself, and a starting cause. Cool. P5, it's impossible to reach infinity with a start.
Wait, can you
That was
just send
C2.
can you send the argument in chat? Because I'm having background noise right now.
Sure. Why not? Why fucking not? Why fucking not?
This nigga Emily's just here to critique the argument.
Dead ass. Nah, he's just here to attack my fucking argument. Like, nigga, do you want to like debate? You want to debate me after this? Like, what's going on?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, like that wasn't literal. That was a joke. Just to
Oh,
be clear,
fucking no.
because I know Chinese don't get jokes.
What, you racist? You racist,
Wait,
Emily?
how does C2 follow from P3 and P4?
Because C2 is basically saying that progression cannot possibly be eternal, as anything that can possibly be eternal cannot possibly change. Yet we see that the universe and temporal progression, we have changes in these things. So if it truly was eternal, then we wouldn't have these changes. No way. So it can't
Well,
possibly be eternal.
I understand the content of the premises. I'm just asking for the inference. Like, what's the
I
form of the
yo,
inference there?
did I not just like did I
Well,
not
no,
just like
you gave me the
Okay,
content.
you want me to
I'm
type out
asking for-
how it will be logically? I got you. I got you. By the way, that's predicate form. So it's giving a universal quantifier for anything that's eternal and saying for any x that is eternal, right? It cannot change. It cannot go through any form of change. Now, inside of this category of things that are eternal, if we were to assume that the universe was in this category of being eternal, then we would have it that the universe wouldn't change. Wait, but there's a negation to that. The negation would be that the universe does change, so it cannot be in the category of things that are eternal. Simple as that.
Balls, by the way.
Did you track that, or like, do I have to save the rec and then like give you the timestamp for you to watch it over again? Because like,
Yeah, I'm just not saying how the conditional in C2 follows because there's a conditional there. I can
conditional.
read it out for you. The conditional there is if it were eternal, another frame of progression would be infinitely far away from the last. I'm just asking for the argument in favor of that. Or
Okay,
why this
let's see.
follows
If it
from
were eternal, another frame of progression would be infinitely far. This is justification. This is aside from the premise. Just so you know, just to be clear.
Wait, sorry, what do you say? What's the
This was
justification?
justification. This is aside from the conclusion. My fault. Because do you remember when I was talking to you about eternal things and them changing? I don't know if you have a tracking issue, but back when I was talking to you about eternal things and eternal things changing, I told you that if something is truly eternal, then the like difference or the distance from a temporal perspective between state A and state B of change would be infinitely far away from each other. As such, you would never reach state B from state A if it truly was infinitely far away from each other.
Okay, so you're just adding in that extra part as
Yeah,
like a limitation.
it's not literally meant to be like literally a part of the
Yeah,
fucking
sure.
conclusion. Yeah, okay. Okay, P5, it's impossible to reach infinity with the start point. Going from a finite speed, by the way, that's what I meant, but yeah. You agree with this, it's pretty damn analytic. Hello?
Wait, sorry, you got John by my background noise. What do you say?
I definitely got jumped. Anyways, P5, it's impossible to reach infinity with the start point.
Okay. What's the argument for this?
So you think you can reach like something that's
I'm
infinitely
just
far away
I'm
at finite
asking.
speed.
I'm just
No, no,
asking for
I'm
argument.
just,
I'm making it fair.
I know, but I'm just trying to like understand if you agree or not with the like premise.
I'm
So
just
like,
unconvinced of the premise.
oh, but is that like a question that you just want to like genuinely know out of the kindness of your heart? If so, I don't give a fuck. Do
I'm
you agree with the
unconvinced.
premise?
I'm
You're
unconvinced of the
unconvinced?
premise.
I'm unconvinced. So you don't agree with the premise? Okay, cool.
Well, you're just dodging the question now.
I'm not dodging the question. I just wanted to fucking know whether or not you agree with the premise. Is that like too much to ask for? Like
I
my
gave you
fault,
the
bro.
answer.
Yeah,
I'm
you just gave me
unconvinced
the
of the
answer.
premise.
Thank you so much. Either way. Okay, cool. Can you point to me like any form of actually in fact
I'm
I'll point
asking.
to you.
I'm asking
Yeah,
for
yeah,
an
yeah,
argument.
yeah. Can you shut the fuck up?
I'm
Yeah, just
asking
point to
for an
him, bro.
argument.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So for example, let's say you have Alex zero, a set of all natural number. You start from 0 or 1 or whatever the fuck you wherever you want to start from. You don't even need the set, right? You can just start from like a number and keep it going infinitely, going from a finite speed, something endless with no true end. You will never truly get to the end because there's always one more number that can possibly be from the previous. Now, did that make sense or what?
Right. The issue of this is just going to be that it's similar to the point before, where this just presupposes that something like eternalism is false. And I just want the argument in
What
favor.
the fuck?
I just want the argument in favor of
What the
eternalism being
fuck?
false.
Oh no! I don't think you understood. So how does that presuppose determinism is false? Just to be
Right.
clear, just to be clear.
Because eternalism entails that the premise here is going to be false. And if the premise here is true, then that just means eternalism is false.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want the
Mm-hmm.
argument
So
that
so
eternalism
hold
is
on.
false.
How does the premise here being true mean that eternalism is false?
Right. So eternalism asserts that all moments in time exist equally. If all moments in time exist equally, then it could be the case that there's a moment and then there's another moment and there's an infinite time between them, but these moments still exist.
Okay,
Or
yeah,
there's
you're
no
having a
moment.
very big issue with infinity. So when it talks about that, it's obviously talking about a lower infinity. So for example, if you had a two-dimensional creature and I was like me as a three-dimensional being took a step in the third dimension, it would be an infinite distance in 2D. That's a lower infinity. So you're quantifying a lower infinity. So yeah, there actually is an infinite distance between points in space-time. Yet these infinite distances are actually lower infinity, so they hold no actual value to the real
Wait,
world because
what do you mean no
can you shut the
value?
fuck up? Like no value, not in the
I don't
literal
know what
sense,
you
as
mean
in
no.
they're definitionless, valueless, bitchless, everything. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean
I
by
know that's
no
not what
value,
you mean.
can you stop? Thank you. What I mean by no value isn't that. I mean like it would just be completely retarded to assume it was like an actual infinity. What I'm talking about when it comes to infinity is like an absolute actual infinity. Like a literal fucking infinity that never fucking ends, even if you have a higher infinity. So absolute infinity in that context. Because if you were to grant that this wasn't an absolute infinity, but rather a potential infinity, I'm fine with that because potential infinities still have a start point. So even if you were to have this potential infinity, you would still have a first cause, a beginning that caused all these
Do you
infinitely
think
many elements.
do you think that real infinities are absolute infinities?
No, I don't know. I don't really think so. It depends on what you mean by real infinities. If
A
you're
real,
talking
by real,
about wait. If you're talking about real infinities being identical to absolute infinities, fuck. Now, if you're talking about real infinities being applicable in this case, yeah, sure, you can apply that. It still
okay,
doesn't defeat the argument.
so if you think that real infinities are applicable here, then the argument you just gave falls apart because there are instances of real infinities where there are 2 points and an infinite number of points in between this. An example of this is just 1 and 2. So you have the numbers
Mm-hmm.
1 and number 2. And there's like number 1.5 in between 1 and 2. There's the number
Mm-hmm.
1.111, 1.11111, and so on. And this is
Mm-hmm.
just an example
Okay,
of a real
so this would
That
so
doesn't
this
negate
would
any.
okay.
that just
So
contradicts
first
what
of
you
all,
said earlier.
that's a shadow box. Second of all, yeah, I can even grant that because that's just a finite element, like an infinite amount of finite elements in an infinite order. So that doesn't even go against what I was saying. What I was talking about with absolute infinity wouldn't be anything like this because within an absolute infinity, you have no form of finitism within it, and it cannot be reduced to any form of finitism, like you just reduced to like
Wait,
quote
sorry,
unquote real infinity to.
you got drowned out by a truck in the background. Can you repeat that?
I got China by a truck.
Nigga,
Yeah,
Alright,
I'm on push to talk right
cool.
now, so you can't hear it.
Okay, my fault. Let me up my mic a bit so like maybe you can understand me better. Cool. What I was talking about was
Too
I was
loud.
saying that too loud. My fault. Let me lower my mic. Cool. Turn it down. Yeah, no, I got you. Turn it down. I'll turn it down even more. Does it need to be done even more, or like, is it
No,
good?
that's good. Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
fine.
Okay. What I was talking about by, but
Nigga sucks.
what I was talking about by absolute infinity, right, was an infinity which cannot be possibly reduced to any form of finitism, which cannot have any finite element within it, that of which is to a finite distance to another.
Well,
Because
that's
then,
fine.
can you stop?
That's,
Can you stop? Because then, if you were to grant this in a causal chain, so the distinction we're making right now is within the causal chain. If you were to grant this in a causal chain, then you would still have some sort of change within this causal change, implying that the causal change wouldn't necessarily, it would make it like non-eternal because of P3, obviously. But since we've already concluded upon that, that's irrelevant. So when it comes to the topic of real infinities, they will still be real infinities because they are endless and infinite in nature. However, you still have the thing where you have a finite element in an infinite amount of like order, so a finite element going infinitely in an infinite order with a finite distance between each of them. Yet in a causal chain, this would be completely contradictory to something that would be like eternal because of P3. Yet a real infinity would negate this, but absolute infinity wouldn't. So to affirm an infinite regress, if you're not affirming the absolute infinity, you're completely fucking yourself up. Did you track, or do I have to replay the rip for you, or did I get drowned by a truck in your
This
background?
nigga
Like,
is
what happened?
right, so
raping him, bro.
I'm just unclear on how that defeats the point.
Wait. Let's conclude because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, this is
Cool.
fucking bad. What the fuck?
What Mercury just questioned the inference, and you guys are just saying
No, I
Yeah, no, it's
literally
fine.
just
Just
gave
let
an
it.
explanation. Hold on. I literally just gave a
Yeah,
fucking
no, it's
explanation
just
on
fine.
how it works, right?
Just
And
let him
this
go.
nigga repeated his initial question about it, and he was
Well,
like,
no,
"I
that
just,
wasn't the
it just
original
sounded like you
understand."
repeated the inference, is what it sounded like.
What? I repeated the inference.
What?
Okay, well, you clearly didn't check. Okay, well, your
Gave
judge
a
is
new
Yeah,
your
I'm
judge is
not gonna lie. I'm
amazing,
not gonna
bro.
lie.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
not gonna
your
lie,
judge,
Phoenix.
bro.
I'm not gonna lie, Phoenix. Just continue not tracking, please. Can you give your judgments,
Oh, this is
please?
some like this. Okay, yeah, you guys are trolls.
No dick writing. Like, no offense, no dick writing. Just continue not listening, please. Can you give your
Can you
free
give your like
conclude on this
verdict?
point, bro?
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah,
yeah,
I
you
know.
won this point.
Real quick, I have a question.
What's up? Is it questioning my argument or like?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck off, nigga. Give your verdict.
what? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm
the
completely
potential
okay. So
infinity,
what I
was,
the
said
okay, so
potential
was,
infinity,
so
that Mercury wanted to breed up doesn't like negate the metaphysical infinity that Free was talking about. It's pretty fucking simple. Um, there was no response in regards to the mathematics example between the one and the infinite set between 1 and 2. There was no response to Free's objection on that. So I think Free also has this point. Like, and I'm also taking this shit right now.
yeah, what's the last man meeting?
The last part was not
okay,
necessary.
my question was, yeah, if you give like an explanation upon the inference you're trying to draw, and then someone puts in the question, well, how do we know this inference is actually some like defeater? Or, like, how does this inference
Okay,
follow?
can I give you an
And
answer?
then you say, and then you say,
yeah.
like, I don't care, like, I don't even
Yeah,
understand.
can I give you an answer? That's absolutely fine. But when they ask a question, I answer it, and they ask it again. Do you think that person is special needs, or do you think I'm special needs?
I was asking the question about your new response, about the new response, the original objection you gave, the
Wait,
novel
doesn't
point
that
you gave.
hold on? Isn't that funny? Because that entirely contradicts what your judge just fucking said. So either you're not tracking or
Well,
your judge isn't tracking.
it
Who isn't
doesn't
tracking?
because what
Yes,
you-
it does.
what you
Yes, it
said-
does. Your judge.
Holy
You
shit.
want to know what your judge said? Your judge said, hold on. You just said I was making a completely new point and you were questioning that, whereas your judge said that I was just fucking repeating the fucking point which you were questioning. So which one is it,
I'm
nigga?
saying-
Who's
I'm
not
saying
tracking?
you're
You or your judge?
saying-
What the fuck? Yo, what's wrong with you niggas, bro? What the fuck?
Dog. What I was saying is you were making a new
God.
token. You were making a new type of response.
Oh
Right.
shit!
Right. And you asked me, I don't really get how this
Do you even know what I
makes
said
sense. I don't really understand it. When I give you a whole ass explanation on how it works, how it does
Yeah,
everything, I don't really think that's an
explained
argument against what I said. So I said, let's fucking conclude. Cool.
Go
is
to the
that
next
it?
premise, please.
Okay, let's go to next premise. Ugh. Let me get my argument.
Like, no offense, bro.
Cool.
Like,
Anything
offense.
without a will / intelligence cannot move
Got
itself.
raped, bro. God damn.
Hello? Did that
This is
premise
below
unlock
Mercury
you?
though.
Wait, hold on. I was typing in chat. Repeat that.
I said anything without a will / intelligence cannot move itself. So anything that isn't philosophically conscious cannot move itself.
Yeah, Mercury, I'll put this into question.
Yeah, this is the only premise you could actually put into question, nigga. Fucking.
Yeah, I just want a valid and sound argument in favor of this.
Bad and sound argument. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So, let's say you have a tree that falls on a monkey.
This isn't a valid and sound
Hey,
argument.
can you shut up? Can you
This
shut up?
isn't a valid and sound argument. I'm asking for premise
Can
one.
you shut up?
A valid and sound argument.
Can you shut up?
Provide
Okay,
the
well, I
argument,
don't necessarily have to give a valid and sound argument to justify my fucking premise.
So
So shut the fuck up.
So you're dodging the question.
Dodging the question? What do you mean dodging the question? I'm justifying the
refusing
premise.
to
I don't give a
answer
fuck if you're asking me a question.
refusing to
Yo,
answer
Mercury, where do you live? Are you dodging the question, you lame ass nigga? Where do you live? Where do you live? How old are you?
I
Shut the
live
fuck
inside
up,
your house.
nigga.
Wait, Mercury. So I have a
Inside
question.
your
Do you
house.
think, right? Do you think there's sufficient propositional justification for a given point? You always need to provide a fucking logically valid argument.
No, I think he could provide inductive arguments.
Okay,
too.
cool.
So that
Alright.
completely just contradicts what the fuck you just said. You just said I want a new sound perfectly valid argument upon how that premise
You
is
think
valid.
that contradicts me wanting a valid
I mean,
and
you
sound
clearly
argument?
just fucking said you want like you can give an inductive case
I
too,
can
but you
want
were
one,
earlier.
I
Can you
want
shut the
one,
fuck
I
up?
can think
You
that. I
clearly
want
just said
one,
you were
and there
gonna give
also
an
is
inductive
another
case.
explanation.
Hold on, you clearly just
Or
said you can give an
alternative.
inductive argument too, but earlier you were asking from a sound and valid argument as well. So which one is it, nigga? And also, why the fuck would I need to give a specifically an argument limited to premises to justify my fucking premise? Are you fucking autistic? Stunlock. Okay, cool.
Wait, yeah, I just got a call.
Just to be clear, he didn't say it's contradictory in the literal sense, bro. Please, bro.
Wait, I just got a call. What did you say?
I basically said that you're autistic and the premises
sure.
the premise doesn't need to be justified by a sound, valid, inductive argument, but rather I can also give an explanation for it that of which is sufficient to justify the premise.
Right, sure. What's the explanation?
Cool. As I was fucking saying, if you have a tree and the tree falls on the monkey, you can obviously have like cause and effect, which will the cause be the tree falling, and the effect being the monkey dying. Wow. So we come to the question: how did the tree fall? Now, there's two possible cases: intelligent cause or unintelligent cause. Either you have something like, for example, let's say a lumberjack comes there and cuts down the tree so the tree falls and kills the monkey, or you can have a tornado fucking comes there and makes a tree fucking like rip off its roots and fucking fall on the monkey and kill the monkey. You'll see that the like intelligent can move itself as it has a will, it has faculties of the mind. As such, it has the free will to make its own acts and make its own actions to move itself. Whereas the unintelligent cause couldn't move itself as it has no rationality, nor does it have the free will to move itself. As such, it had to have been influenced or moved by something external to it to make it fall, cause, kill, rape, whatever. Does that sound clear? Or was that a sunlock or what happened? Or did your background draw me? Like,
Bro, Phoenix, are you only looking at the argument in the chat to determine who wins instead of them actually fucking arguing?
nah,
The
dead
two
ass. No,
arguments?
I think this nigga's just trying to fucking debate me. Like, you want to debate me, bro? Like,
Well, look, when I'm listening to a debate, I want to be convinced on their positions, and when I see that
that's not your fucking job as a judge, you
an
fucking
argument
idiot.
is made, and it calm down.
Yo,
When I see-
if you're working at Subway,
to-
if you're working at Subway, are you gonna eat the nigga's food just to how
we're
it
not
is?
gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. Stop.
Can you shut the fuck up? Do you want a loud mic? Do you deadass want a loud mic? Do you
Okay,
deadass want a loud mic? I'll join you,
We're
nigga.
not gonna do
I'll
that.
join you,
We're
nigga.
not gonna do that.
I bet I'll join the shit out of you, nigga. Suck my dick, nigga. I bet I'll join the shit out of you, nigga. I'm not even on the set, nigga. I'll join the shit out of you, nigga. Wait until my AP.
Alright, stop it, you two. Enough is enough! Now listen, what you're
Like,
question right
I was
now,
about to join this nigga.
Phoenix,
We're not gonna
it's
do
not
that. We're
what
not gonna do that. We're not gonna do
Mercury's
that.
above us. So it's not irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Well, as a judge, what we're taking into account is the actual points they're verbalizing against each other in the VC rather than looking at the chat
Well,
and be like,
is the premise not
obviously this argument is
Okay, let me ask.
Yo,
okay,
if you're
so
working at Subway,
is
are
the
you gonna take a
premises-
taste of the nigga's
Wait,
food?
can I respond?
Just
Like,
to
Tron,
fucking
what are you
see?
doing? Like,
Can I respond? Can I respond?
Wait. What am I doing right now? I was just washing
Like,
my
you
hands.
guys are
I was
so
taking a shit.
childish. Like, what is wrong with you guys?
I'm not, bro. Okay, bro.
Anyways, look.
All right.
It isn't the. Would you consider the premises that they're talking about points? Yes or no?
So the relevant points that they're verbalizing.
Yeah, like I mean,
That
the
is distinct
conclusion
from
would be
just
a
the
relevant
argument that you
point.
pointed on.
Well, the conclusion would be a relevant point, right?
Within the argument, within the chat?
Yeah.
Is this nigga special needs? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean,
Is this
like,
nigga special
what?
needs?
Yeah.
Because your job as a judge is to give a
yes.
verdict upon who you think won the dialectic, discussion, debate, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I
Not
think
to
personally
not.
I would go first point.
Oh,
There's like a
Based off of the
discrepancy.
incorrect
Thank
inference
you.
that was
There's like a
made.
Can you
discrepancy
shut the fuck
between
up?
what
you
Mercury
dumb
was
tranny?
putting into question and what Emily here was putting into question within the chat.
Goku
I'm going off
solos.
between the two relevant points.
Go.
Well, I don't even like need to put that in the question though. It's like just like
Okay,
straightforward,
who's
like,
playing that shit?
invalid. Like,
Yeah,
you
okay.
would have to add like an extra premise, like, what did I
He
represent
did.
that as?
Oh my god.
You would have to add like,
He did.
if G
This is-
then Q.
How is this
then it
shit
would
fucking
follow.
relevant to you judging the debate upon who won and who didn't? It seems
No,
like
Because
you're
it,
he never
lets
even
me,
put in the
it lets me
validity of all
determine.
these questions.
It lets me
It
determine.
seems like you're
the
just
quality
trying
of
to
the
fucking
argument that
debate
was
me
given.
upon whether or not my argument is good or ass. Like, what the fuck, nigga?
Bro, why do you guys do bro? Alright, but anyway.
Well, wait, hold on. Did I or did I not ask the question? What is the argument? Like, what proposition are you giving the argument favor for? And I was given the answer P2,
No.
right? And then like,
What do you mean?
You
What
just didn't give the
proposition am I
argument.
giving the argument in favor for, nigga?
Yeah, P2 of A1.
P2?
And you just didn't give.
we
You
literally
didn't give the
fucking
argument for
answered.
that.
Nigga, yes we did! I sent it in the chat!
Wait,
You lying
wait,
ass
no.
nigga, I sent it in the
Wait,
chat! What the fuck?
I'm not gonna lie.
No,
Wait,
no,
Sean,
the
wait,
issue.
wait,
I said
No,
the
he
whole-
didn't. Because if he did do that, then the conclusion.
I didn't say on God, say on God, say on God, say on God I did
On
it.
God.
You're going to hell, nigga. You're going to hell, nigga. Goodbye,
You gave an
nigga.
argument to sufficiently justify that
Can you mute him?
specific premise.
Like,
it doesn't have to.
Yes.
The conclusions don't have to be like strictly
Yo,
identical.
check
That's
what
essentially
I
talking about.
responded to. Check
Well,
what I
well,
responded to.
So one of the judges can
One of the
correct me if I'm
arguments for
wrong
that.
if I didn't hear this right, but they already clarified on what
No,
the
upon
burden
P2, hold on,
placed.
upon
Wait,
P2.
chill. The burden placed on
They're
the burden
not
placed on
even
freedom
logically
was already
because he might disagree with the
Stop.
inference that
Wait, listen.
Yeah, he could.
G
Yeah,
implies
it's possible,
Q.
bro.
Upon P2, I literally typed a whole ass argument with the kindness of my heart out in chat, and you just
is the
fucking
conclusion
ignored it.
P2 and A1. Is that
And
the
you
conclusion
just
or no?
fucking P2A1. What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you think the conclusions have to be
Oh my
identical for it to be a sufficient propositional justification for the fucking
What the
premise?
fuck? No,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
for it to be
literally
valid and
no.
in
What the
favor
fuck?
of
Wait,
the
hold on.
proposition you
What's the
have.
argument?
Wait, hold on. You're a retard. Okay, wanna know what
I can give
Mercury?
you a
That
logical
by the way,
example.
that goes. Hold on, that goes against what your own fucking like nigga you're advocating
Debater
for
was
said.
saying.
Wanna know what Mercury said? Mercury said that if I can prove that the PSR is true because of PSR like being negated, like or being true would be a direct negation to the negation of my second premise. So if I prove the PSR being
Wait,
true,
that's
then I would
not what
also
I
prove
said.
the burden.
That's what you said.
It's
We're going
actually
to red.
other way.
Oh,
Wait,
we have a
I
tracking
can
demon.
tell you what I can tell
We
you what
have
I
a tracking demon.
Wait, I said
This
that
is bad.
you proving something existing without a cause or something coming from nothing, being a contradiction, that would prove the PSR. I didn't say that
No,
the
so
PSR would prove it.
so listen,
gotta mix up.
that's not even what you said. Or if it is what you said,
You
then
can
wanna
look
know
back
what?
to the
Okay, hold on. If it is what you said, then wanna know something? You literally fucking like conceded to me. I hope you realize.
I didn't
I hope you
concede.
realize.
You just got-
No,
you
wanna
just
know why?
got-
Wanna know why? Wanna know why? Because I can you shut up? Can you shut up? You dumb transgender bitch. Wanna know why? No. Wanna know why? Because listen, I told you that if something with the beginning creating itself / coming from nothing is contradictory, when you talk about coming from nothing, it's literally the absence of thing. An explanation itself is a thing. So if
Yeah,
you were
you said
talking
that.
about can you shut? Oh, my fault.
No,
If you
go
were
ahead.
talking about explanations, right? In the context of an explanation, it would still be a thing. So you would still be like, quote unquote, not negating P2 if you weren't talking about explanations in specific. So you wouldn't be negating P2. So if you were saying that, you did fucking concede to me and grant P2. Thank you, you trash ass nigga.
Well, number one, that's a
Number one.
complete